Hybrid regret. I regret buying a hybrid in 2026. Hybrid buyer's remorse. Highway MPG disappointment. PHEV never plugged in. Overpaid for efficiency I don't use. And here's the pattern nobody expects. Most people who regret buying a hybrid in 2026 don't regret it because the hybrid is bad. They regret it because they bought the wrong hybrid for their actual life. Let's break this down. Most people think hybrid regret is about reliability or about the car being disappointing, but the brutal truth is this: hybrid regret in 2026 is almost always a mismatch between the buyer's assumption and the buyer's reality. If you want to understand cars before you buy them, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because every car has a story, and I'm here to decode it so you don't waste money. Picture this. It's 6 months after you bought your hybrid. You're sitting in traffic on a Tuesday, and you do that thing where your brain starts running numbers it shouldn't be running. You remember what you paid. You remember the salesperson saying 50 mpg like it was a law of physics. You remember thinking, this is the smart choice. I'm going to save so much money. And now you're looking at your real-world fuel economy, and it's fine. It's better than your old car, but it's not the miracle you expected. Or maybe you bought a plug-in hybrid and you haven't plugged it in 2 months because your routine changed, and now it's just inconvenient. Or maybe you're doing 90% highway and you realized you paid a huge premium for city efficiency you barely use. And you start thinking the one thought that stings: I made the wrong choice. That's hybrid regret in 2026, and I'm going to walk you through the 5 most common regret categories, the ones I actually see in real ownership stories, so you can avoid becoming one of them. Because here's the thing, I've worked on cars, I've talked to owners, and I can tell you this much: the hybrid itself is rarely the villain. The villain is usually the story you told yourself when you bought it. Regret category 1. I bought the hybrid for highway driving, and highway is where it barely matters. This is the #1 regret story. Someone buys a hybrid thinking hybrid equals great MPG everywhere. And in city driving, it can be amazing. Stop-and-go traffic, regenerative braking, engine shutting off at lights, that's where hybrids dominate. But a huge number of people commute mostly highway, long stretches at 70, 75, 80 miles per hour, steady speed, minimal braking. And here's what nobody tells you clearly enough: the hybrid advantage shrinks dramatically on the highway compared to a well-designed gas car. Because on the highway, you're not braking much, so regen doesn't help. The engine runs more continuously, so the shutoff and coast advantage disappears. Aerodynamic drag becomes the main enemy, and that doesn't care if you're hybrid or not. So a buyer who does 80% highway might see real-world combined MPG of, say, 38 instead of the 50 they imagined. And when you paid $4,000 more for the hybrid and your fuel savings per year turns out to be $400 instead of $1,200, that's regret. Not because the car is bad, because you bought city driving efficiency for a highway driving life. Here's the question that could have saved them: what percentage of my driving is stop and go versus steady cruising? If the answer is mostly steady cruising, the hybrid premium is harder to justify financially. Regret category 2. I bought a plug-in hybrid and I never plug it in. This one is painful because it's so common. A plug-in hybrid sounds perfect on paper: electric range for daily driving, gas engine for road trips, best of both worlds. But here's the reality check: a PHEV only delivers on that promise if you actually plug it in regularly. If you don't plug in, you're hauling around a heavy battery and complex drivetrain and getting normal hybrid MPG at best, sometimes worse. So why do people stop plugging in? Life changes. They moved and lost easy access to an outlet. Their parking situation changed. The charging cable becomes one more thing to remember, and they just stop. The novelty wears off. Or they realize the electric range was 25 miles and their commute is 40, so they tell themselves, what's the point? And now they're driving the most expensive version of a hybrid without using the feature they paid extra for. That's regret. This is where it gets interesting. A PHEV can be the smartest buy or the dumbest buy, depending entirely on charging discipline. If you know yourself well enough to admit, I'm probably not going to plug this in every night, you just saved yourself from buyer's remorse by buying the regular hybrid instead. Regret category 3. I overpaid in a hot market and the premium ate my savings. This one is pure financial regret. In 2024, 25, and into 2026, hybrid resale values have been elevated. Demand is strong, supply can be tight on certain models. So a lot of buyers paid top dollar, sometimes over MSRP, sometimes buying used at near new prices, because hybrids hold value and I'll save on gas. Then reality shows up. Fuel savings at normal mileage might be $50 to $80 a month, but if you overpaid by $6,000 and you financed it, your payment difference might be $100+ a month compared to the gas version. So you're not saving money, you're spending more money to feel efficient. And that's fine if you knew that going in and you wanted the hybrid for other reasons, but if you convinced yourself it was a financial decision and the math doesn't math, that's regret. Here's the simple test that prevents this. Before you buy, calculate the hybrid premium. Then estimate your annual fuel savings honestly, not with best-case MPG, with real-world numbers. Then ask how many years to break even. If the answer is longer than you plan to keep the car, you're not buying savings, you're buying preference. Regret category 4. The hybrid drove great on the test drive, but it's annoying on my actual commute. This regret is about drivability mismatch. Some hybrids feel amazing in city driving, smooth, quiet, almost EV-like, but on the highway they can feel busy. The engine sound can feel disconnected from speed. The drivetrain can feel like it's constantly managing, switching modes, thinking. And if your daily life is mostly highway, that constant background activity can go from interesting to annoying fast. The test drive didn't reveal it, because the test drive was 15 minutes of mixed streets. Your commute is 45 minutes of freeway every day. Now you notice it. Now it bugs you. Now you wish you'd bought the quieter, calmer gas version. This is especially common with certain hybrid systems that use specific strategies at highway speed. Mode switching between electric assist and direct drive, engine RPM behavior under load, that sort of thing. Not a defect, just a personality. But personality matters when you live with it. Here's the prevention move. Do a highway-specific test drive. Get the car warmed up, get on the freeway, and hold 70 to 75 for at least 10 minutes. Add throttle on a grade. Pass someone. Listen, if it bugs you during the test, it will bug you every single day. Regret category 5. I bought the hybrid for reliability and resale, but I'm not sure it's actually simpler long-term. This regret is quieter, but it's real. A lot of buyers choose a hybrid because they assume hybrids are more reliable, hybrids are simpler, I'll save on maintenance. And in many cases that can be true, especially with proven hybrid systems. But some buyers realize after ownership,
the hybrid system adds complexity, more cooling loops, more electronics. Battery health is something to monitor. Repair costs can be higher for hybrid-specific components, especially out of warranty. And if they bought a newer, less proven hybrid system, they start wondering, did I beta test this? So the regret is a slow burn. I paid more for what I thought was simplicity, and now I'm not sure it's actually simpler. This is the trust moment. Hybrids can be incredibly durable, especially mature systems from brands with decades of data. But hybrid isn't a magic reliability spell. Some hybrid systems are more complex than others, some are newer and less proven, and all of them still require proper maintenance. Now, let's flip this and talk about the people who don't regret their hybrid, because that tells you what success looks like. The people who love their hybrid in 2026 usually check these boxes. 1, their driving is heavily city or mixed, not pure highway. This is where hybrids shine. If your life is traffic, errands, stoplights, and short trips, the hybrid advantage is real and constant. 2, they bought at a fair price, not a panic price. They didn't overpay, they didn't buy into hype, they paid a reasonable premium and their fuel savings actually add up over time. 3, if it's a PHEV, they actually plug it in. The PHEV owners who love their cars are the ones who treat the plug like brushing their teeth. It's just part of the routine. 4, they test drove it on their actual commute type. They didn't guess, they drove it the way they'll live with it, and it felt right. 5, they bought a proven system, not the first-year mystery. They didn't beta test. They bought second-gen or later. They bought the system with years of real-world data behind it. Now, let's myth bust the stories people tell themselves that create regret. Myth 1, hybrids always save you money. No, hybrids save you fuel. Whether that saves you money depends on what you paid, how much you drive, what kind of driving you do, and how long you keep it. If you overpay for the hybrid and you don't drive much, you may never break even. Myth 2. All hybrids get amazing MPG in all conditions. Nope. Hybrid advantage is context dependent. City and stop and go, huge advantage. Highway at high speed, smaller advantage. Cold weather, advantage shrinks. Towing or heavy load, advantage can nearly disappear. Myth 3. I'll never have to do maintenance on a hybrid. False. You still do oil changes, coolants, filters, tires, brakes, alignment, suspension, all the normal stuff. Hybrids can reduce brake wear, and they don't have transmissions in the traditional sense in many cases, but they're not maintenance-free. Myth 4. PHEV is always the best of both worlds. Only if you plug it in and your daily mileage fits the electric range. If you don't plug in, it's the worst financial choice. You paid the most for a feature you don't use. Now, real-world application. How to avoid hybrid regret before you buy. Step 1. Be honest about your daily driving pattern. Write down a normal week. How many miles? How much city versus highway? Do you do mostly short trips or long cruises? If it's 70+% highway, hybrids are a harder financial sell unless you're getting a screaming deal or you drive huge miles. Step 2. Calculate the premium and the break-even honestly. Find the gas version price. Find the hybrid version price. The gap is your premium. Now, estimate annual fuel savings using real MPG numbers from owners, not EPA dreams. Break-even equals premium divided by annual fuel savings. If break-even is longer than your ownership plan, you're not buying savings. Step 3. If it's a PHEV, admit whether you'll really plug in. Don't lie to yourself. If you have a garage, an outlet, and you're organized, great. If you street park, if your routine is chaotic, if you travel a lot, or if you're honest enough to say, I'll forget, just buy the regular hybrid or the gas version. Step 4. Test drive it like you'll live with it. Not a dealership loop, your actual commute conditions. Highway test, stop-and-go test. Does it feel right or does it feel like you're compromising? Step 5. Buy proven unless you love being early. First-year hybrids, new hybrid systems, brand-new powertrains, those are for people who accept risk. If you hate surprises, buy the second-gen, third-gen, known solid system. Step 6. Get insurance quotes before you commit. Hybrids can sometimes cost more to insure. EVs can cost more. PHEVs can cost more. Find out before you fall in love with the listing. Now, let's land this clean. I regret buying a hybrid in 2026. Here's why you might too. If you bought for highway efficiency and you drive mostly highway, the advantage is smaller than you expected. If you bought a PHEV and you don't plug it in, you overpaid for a feature you're not using. If you overpaid in a hot market, your fuel savings may never catch the premium. If the hybrid's drivability doesn't match your commute type, it will annoy you daily. If you assumed hybrid equals no maintenance or risk, you may be surprised by complexity or costs later. But here's the flip side. If you bought the right hybrid for your driving at a fair price and it fits your life, hybrid ownership in 2026 can be smooth, efficient, and exactly what you hoped for. The regret isn't the car, it's the mismatch. So, if you're shopping now, tell me, what's your daily driving look like? City or highway? How many miles per year? Can you charge if it's a PHEV? And I'll tell you whether the hybrid you're looking at is the smart financial move or the regret you'll be writing about in 6 months.